something's wrong. You can feel it. You get winded now, fatigued. You ache. Your waistline's expanding. Your sleep's getting worse. You lie awake at 2 a.m. running through everything that needs fixing. And the list is so long, you don't know where to start. So you don't start. And another year goes by. I'll tell you where to start. Before you change your diet, before you start exercising, the first step on your journey to a life that thrives is you need to get a physical exam. I know, I'm making an assumption that you haven't had a physical in the past year. It's not a bad assumption, sadly. Nearly 40% of US adults aged 26 to 54 have not been to a doctor at all in the past 5 years. But even if you've had a recent physical, you probably didn't get everything from it that you needed. Either way, this video is for you. It will motivate you to get your physical and empower you with the info you need to get the full health benefit from it. You will learn 4 reasons why getting a physical is the essential first step on your health journey. 5 homework items to prepare before your visit. 10 valuable but non-standard lab tests to ask your doctor for. 4 instructions you must follow for accurate lab test results. 7 tips to make the most of your doctor visit. 6 follow-up appointments to make, including the big C, and 2 other essential checkups to schedule. I found that a lot of this info is not readily available. I've gathered it through years of research and hard-won experience. While I'm not a doctor and this is not medical advice, I've spent nearly 2 decades obsessed with how ordinary people like you and me can build lives that thrive as we age, and right now, through proven fundamentals. And getting your physical is as fundamental as it gets. Welcome to Thrivespan. Chapter 1, why get a physical? I see 4 reasons why getting a physical is such an essential first step on your health journey. Reason 1, for timely detection of cardiovascular disease, metabolic syndrome and type 2 diabetes, liver, kidney, and thyroid diseases, specific cancers, low bone density, mental health problems, the list goes on. See, the diseases that are most likely to derail your health, heart disease, stroke, type 2 diabetes, cancer, are largely silent in their early stages. They build for years, sometimes decades, without obvious symptoms. You can't feel your LDL particle count, bad cholesterol, rising, or your blood pressure creeping up, or the early stages of insulin resistance, or that small precancerous polyp in your colon. By the time you finally do feel something, you're in the ambulance, the ER, permanent damage has been done, sometimes as permanent as it gets. The good news is you can catch these conditions while they're still readily treatable, sometimes even reversible through lifestyle change alone. How? Through the tests and screenings your doctor gives you at your annual physical. Reason number 2 to get a physical: to establish an ongoing relationship with a primary care provider. Your PCP is your base camp for your health journey. They have your medical records, family history, test results. They coordinate your care with specialists, prescribe medications and vaccinations. They know your baseline. They see you regularly over time. They notice changes for the worse and intervene. No urgent care clinic, telehealth appointment, or Dr. Google replaces a physician who actually knows you. Reason 3, to know what to fix first. You're at the beginning of your Thrivespan health journey. You know you have a lot that needs fixing, but if you try to fix it all at once, you will fail. So where do you start? Exercise, diet, sleep, mental health, something else? Your physician, armed with the results of your screenings and lab tests, can make a pretty good recommendation. They can also tell you how to start safely from where you're at right now, particularly when it comes to starting an exercise program or changing your diet. Even if you've had a recent physical, you should still have this conversation with your doctor. Let them know that you're embarking on fixing your health. Get their recommendation on what to fix first based on your risk factors. Ask them what precautions you should take when starting. Reason number 4 to get a physical, to capture your baseline, the before of your before and after. With it, you can track your progress, look back and see just how far you've come. Because 10 years from now, if you put in the work, no one will believe you were ever how you are right now. As someone who did not capture his before, I promise you, if you don't capture yours, you'll regret it. So find a doctor. If you don't have one, pick up your phone and book your appointment. If that's all you do after watching this video, you've already won. But keep watching to learn how to get the most out of that appointment once you make it. Timing-wise, I recommend you schedule that first appointment 2 to 4 weeks in the future. Give yourself time to do some homework. Chapter 2, do your homework. Your doctor will need some information from you in order to fully assess your health. Some of that info you can probably tell them off the top of your head, like your allergies, your exercise habits, diet and sleep, and how much you drink, drug, and smoke, if any. But some of them, these 5, you'll have to do your homework before your physical. Number 1, the big kahuna, your family medical history. It provides a crucial roadmap of your genetic risks for conditions like heart disease, cancer, and diabetes in ways that genetic testing cannot yet match. Where your family history shows you're at increased risk, your doctor can order earlier and more frequent screenings and counsel you on lifestyle changes. For example, skin cancer runs in my family. So I get a total body dermatologist skin exam twice a year, more on that later, and I wear a hat when I'm out in the sun. And there, you know almost as much about my family medical history as I do. My mom was a family tree maker, OG, but I could never get her to make me a family tree of death. Do better than me on this. For this exercise, family includes your parents, brothers and sisters, half-siblings, children, grandparents, aunts and uncles, nieces and nephews. For each, your doctor will want to know their major medical conditions and the age at diagnosis and the age and cause of death. If you can, enlist your parents, aunts, and uncles to pull this together and keep it up to date. It's one of the best gifts they can give you and their entire extended family. Let's be clear though, if you cannot pull this together in a month, go ahead and get your physical without it and bring it to your next physical. Never let the perfect be the enemy of the good. 2, if you're starting at a new doctor's office, call their front desk and ask them to walk you through transferring your medical records from your previous doctor if you had one. I recommend you do this when you make the appointment for your physical because your previous doctor has up to 30 days to transfer the records and you want them in your physician's hands when you get the physical. 3, gather your vaccination history, what you've had and when. Even if you were up to date on vaccines at some point in the past, you might not be now. Some vaccines require periodic booster shots, like Tdap every 10 years. Others aren't required until you reach a certain age, like shingles at 50 and pneumonia at 65. This can be a bit of a pain to reconstruct. The good news is, if you haven't had any vaccinations since your last doctor visit other than annual flu and COVID, then transferring your medical records will take care of this step too. 4, make a list of all your current prescription drugs, over-the-counter medications, and supplements. Name, frequency, and dose size. This one is easy. 5, make a list of your current symptoms, concerns, and questions. If you don't, in the hustle and bustle of the appointment, you'll forget to ask. Be sure your list includes telling the doctor that you intend to start working on your health. Chapter 3. Lab tests to request and why. In addition to providing your medical info, you'll also need to provide your blood and your urine. Lab tests. As a new patient, your doctor may prefer to have your initial physical before your labs. Based on what they learn about your health, they'll decide which additional tests to order on top of the standard lab panel. They'll then schedule a follow-up exam after your labs get back to go over them with you. Those additional labs are what I want to talk with you about now. There are some valuable tests that are not part of the standard panel that you may not get unless you talk with your doctor about adding them. Some of these tests are covered by insurance if your doctor prescribes them. Others are worth paying out of pocket for. Here are 10 valuable non-standard labs. I get all except number 4. Number 1, lipoprotein A, aka Lp(a). This is a one-time test for a genetic risk factor that affects roughly 1 in 5 people and dramatically increases your risk of heart disease and stroke. Knowing you have this elevated risk completely reshapes how aggressively you and your doctor manage your modifiable risk factors for these diseases. Ask for this. 2, lipoprotein B, aka ApoB. This is widely considered to be a more accurate predictor of cardiovascular risk than the standard LDL cholesterol test, which can miss some conditions. Ask for this. 3, high sensitivity C-reactive protein, aka HSCRP. This test measures low-level chronic inflammation to assess your long-term risk for cardiovascular disease, CVD. Talk to your doctor about whether you're at risk for CVD and should get the HSCRP test. Fasting insulin. If you're on the path to type 2 diabetes, well, you want to get off that path. This test detects it at the first step, insulin resistance, years before your blood sugar starts to rise and show up in the standard lab panel. You can use those years to make lifestyle changes that reverse your insulin resistance before it starts doing real damage. Talk with your doctor about whether you have risk factors for diabetes and would benefit from this earlier screenings. This is the test I don't get because I don't have those risk factors. 5, vitamin D. Roughly 40% of Americans have moderate to severe vitamin D deficiency, which is associated with immune dysfunction, bone loss, mood disorders, cardiovascular risk, and cognitive decline. Ask for this. 6, ApoE. This is another one-time genetic test, this time for the ApoE4 gene variant that increases the risk of developing Alzheimer's disease, particularly in women. Roughly 25% of people carry one copy of the ApoE4 gene, which increases Alzheimer's risk by about 4 times for women. 2 to 3% of people carry 2 copies of ApoE4, increasing risk by roughly 10 times for women and 4 times for men, and significantly lowering the age of symptom onset. I have 1 copy. Let's be clear. ApoE4 is an increase in risk, not a certainty. The point of finding out you're at increased risk is to then offset that risk by diligently making the right lifestyle choices, which are, not coincidentally, the Thrivespan lifespan choices we talk about throughout this channel. Alzheimer's disease took my mother's mind, then it took her life. Ask for this, especially if you're a woman. 7, prostate-specific antigen, aka PSA. Men. PSA is an easily tested biomarker for prostate cancer, which is the second leading cause of cancer death in men. However, PSA levels can vary a lot from person to person and even day to day. Well-trained doctors know not to go by a single test result, rather to look for sustained rapid increases over your baseline, which requires testing PSA now to establish your baseline and in your annual labs thereafter to look for big changes over time. Ask for this. 8, testosterone. Men, I recommend you get tested. Testosterone declines with age, and with it declines your energy, muscle mass, mood, libido, sexual function, bone density, and metabolic health. Capture your baseline T at the start of your Thrivespan journey because you will likely see it rise naturally as you build a healthier lifestyle. And if it doesn't, you can ask your doctor about supplementation. Ask for this test. 9, estradiol follicle stimulating hormone and testosterone. Women, I can't speak from personal experience here, but I don't want to leave this out. These 3 hormones affect your bone density, cardiovascular risk, muscle mass, mood, energy, and libido. Talk with your doctor about getting your hormones levels tested as part of your baseline labs, especially if you're experiencing symptoms of perimenopause or menopause. And 10, sexually transmitted infections. If you're sexually active, ask your doctor to include an STI panel in your lab tests, even if you're in a long-term monogamous relationship. Many sexually transmitted infections are completely asymptomatic or lie dormant for months or years. You could have been carrying and transmitting them for years without knowing. Testing is simple, often covered by insurance, and takes no extra effort beyond the blood draw you're already doing. There's no reason not to. Write down this list so you can ask your doctor during your physical. Chapter 4, preparing for labs. Asking for the right lab test isn't enough. You also have to prepare correctly for your lab tests or your results will be wildly inaccurate. Here are the 4 prep instructions you're likely to get for a standard lab panel with my color commentary based on my experience. 1. Stop taking all supplements starting at least 72 hours before your lab visit. That's all supplements, including but not limited to your multivitamin, creatine, protein supplements, fish oils and omega-3s, vitamin C, biotin, and iron. Also, make sure your doctor has the complete list of the prescription and over-the-counter medications you're taking. Ask them if any should be paused in the days leading up to your lab visit. 2. Avoid vigorous exercise for 24 hours before your lab visit. I know it's hard. Exercise alters enzymes, blood counts, and hormone and nutrient levels in ways that will skew your results. Prep step 3. Start a water-only fast 12 hours before your lab visit. Enjoy a light, healthy meal prior to fasting, then nothing but water and plenty of it until after your lab visit. Coffee, tea, juice, broth, these are not water. Alcohol, nicotine, recreational drugs, also not water. Water only. 4. Speaking of water, drink at least 1 liter, aka 4 cups, aka a quart of water, a couple hours before your lab visit. Good hydration will make your urine sample easier and your blood draw too. You want those veins plump and prominent. Best to schedule your lab appointment for early in the morning so the majority of your fasting time happens while you're sleeping. Chapter 5, during your physical. The big day has arrived. Time to get that physical. Here are 7 tips to make the most of this once-a-year health opportunity face-to-face with your doctor. 1. Remember to bring your homework. Your family medical history, vaccination records, drug and supplement list, requested labs, and your list of questions and concerns. 2. Ask your doctor to be honest. Tell them you're starting to work on your health and you need them to be straight with you about the concerns you need to take action on. 3. Be honest yourself about your symptoms, your alcohol, tobacco, and drug use, your sleep, diet, and exercise, mental health, sexual activity. Everything you tell your doctor is confidential, so don't hold back. Your doctor can only help you if they have complete, accurate information. 4. Speak up. Ask your questions, raise your concerns, get clarification. 5. Take notes and/or ask your doctor how to get a copy of their notes. The practice I go to has a patient portal where I can see my doctor's after-visit report from each visit, along with all my lab results and future appointments. 6. Get referrals for further tests and exams. We'll talk about this in the next chapter. And 7, very important, before you walk out the door from this visit, make your appointment for next year's physical. Do not skip this step. I missed this at my 2024 annual physical and missed getting a physical in 2025 altogether. Not good. Speaking of further appointments, Chapter 6, follow-on appointments. Let's talk about 6 follow-on tests and screenings you may need. Don't leave without referrals for the ones that apply to you. Number 1, the big C, colonoscopy. Did you know that colorectal cancer is the 2nd deadliest cancer in the world, right behind lung cancer? Want to reduce that risk by 50 to 88%? Get your colonoscopy. A colonoscopy is a 30 to 60-minute procedure where you are sedated and a gastroenterologist guides a flexible tube with a high-def video camera through your rectum and large intestine to view the entire inside lining. If they see any abnormal growths, those polyps are immediately and painlessly snipped off. That's right, a colonoscopy diagnoses and treats at the same time. It also screens for inflammatory bowel disease. It's a no-brainer. But your colonoscopy will only be as effective as your prep. Your entire large intestine needs to be completely empty so your gastroenterologist has a clear view of the intestinal walls. Follow your prep instructions to the letter. If your prep instructions are anything like mine, they will tell you what to stop eating 5 days beforehand, what you're allowed for your final breakfast the day before, what clear liquids you're allowed after that, and how to take the 2 doses of a powerful laxative that will clean you out. Unpleasant? Yeah, kinda. I hear that laxative, a lot easier to chug down that laxative when it's cold, by the way. But as unpleasant as it is, it's nowhere near as unpleasant as colorectal cancer. Colonoscopy is recommended starting at age 45 for average risk, earlier if high risk or symptomatic. And so when you hear me saying about average risk and high risk, a lot of this is coming from your family history. That's why you need it. Repeat in 10 years if your average risk and the screening finds nothing. More often if high risk or precancerous polyps are found. My last 2 have found polyps and removed them, so I'm on a 3-year repeat now. Next one's coming up next month. 2, mammogram. For women, breast cancer tops colorectal cancer as the second deadliest cancer, so stay current on this. American Cancer Society guidelines recommend that if you're average risk, you start mammograms annually at 45, optionally at 40, and then every 1 to 2 years starting at age 55. If you're at high risk, family history, genetic mutation like BRCA, or prior chest radiation, the guidelines recommend annual mammogram and breast MRI starting at 30. 3, that full body skin exam with the dermatologist I was talking about to check for skin cancer. Recommended if you have risk factors such as a family history of melanoma, yes, a history of blistering sunburns, especially as a child, also yes, fair skin, unusual moles, or many of them. I get checked every 6 months because they're finding precancerous spots on my scalp and burning them away with liquid nitrogen. Even if you don't think you're at high risk, this is worth considering to establish a baseline and talk to a specialist. 4, coronary artery calcium scan. CAC is a quick, non-invasive imaging test that detects buildup of calcified plaques in your coronary arteries, which decrease blood flow and increase your risk of heart disease. My doctor requested this for me because I have risk factors for heart disease, family history again, high LDL cholesterol, and learning my CAC score informs how aggressively we need to reduce my risk. My insurance did not cover this scan, but at remarkably only $175 out of pocket, it was worth getting. Scored a 0, by the way. Ask your doctor if you're a candidate for a CAC scan. 5, DEXA scan. DEXA, dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, is another quick, non-invasive imaging test. DEXA measures your bone density for fractures and osteoporosis, your visceral fat, the dangerous fat that's wrapped around your organs, your lean muscle, a strong predictor of longevity, and your body fat percentage, should you care. Your doctor might order it if concerned about osteoporosis. If they don't, I recommend paying the $75 or so yourself to get this really valuable baseline and then share the results with your doctor so they're in your file. 6, hearing test. You might be surprised to hear that hearing loss is one of the largest modifiable risk factors for dementia. Gradual hearing loss is particularly insidious because you don't know what you've lost. So I think it's particularly important to get a hearing test as a baseline. Ask your doctor for a referral if you haven't had one. My hearing test was covered by insurance, and I was surprised to find that a lifetime of hard rock and heavy metal concerts had left my ears undamaged. Chapter 7, the other two essential checkups. So get your physical, then get to these two other checkups that are also essential to your long-term health. 1, dental checkup and cleaning. Yes, brushing twice a day and flossing daily is necessary, but I learned the hard way that it's not sufficient. In my 20s, I brushed, I flossed, but I was too busy to see a dentist until 2 of my molars disintegrated. 35 years, I'm still dealing with the consequences of that youthful negligence. Turns out, those twice-a-year cleanings do some deep work that brushing and flossing can't. Dental x-rays catch cavities while they're still easy to fix, and your dentist will screen for oral cancer and for inflamed gums that may indicate other underlying diseases. As I tell my kids, here's your chance to be smarter than I was. Exam number 2, eye exam. Even if you don't need glasses or contacts, you need regular eye exams. In addition to testing your vision, you'll get screened for glaucoma, cataracts, and macular degeneration. If not detected and treated early, these diseases will take your sight, and sight loss will definitely cramp your thriving old age. How often should you get an eye exam? That depends on your age, vision, family history, and whether you have a chronic condition such as diabetes that increases your risk of eye disease. Get your first exam. Let the optometrist tell you when to schedule your next one. I've shared a ton of information to empower you to get the biggest health impact out of your annual physical. If it's too much to handle all at once, that's okay. Just make the appointment, do as much of the homework items as you can, and show up. Your doctor will take care of some, most, or all of the rest. Whatever they miss this time, ask them for it next year's physical. What matters now is that you start. Now, watch this video next to learn the 8 fundamentals of Thrivespan and get the full picture of how you too can live better longer. And subscribe to this channel because there's a lifetime of Thrivespan lessons still to come that you won't want to miss. Until next time, thrive now for life.